Parents are tired of the conflict around screens. I'm often asked, how can we detox our family from devices? What does it look like to be a screen-free family? Can we actually do that? The aspiration is amazing, but it's difficult. In a recent study, I saw that parents and kids tend to mirror one another in screen use. It was fascinating. They divided out 3 different types of screen use, and it was high, medium, and low. And the kids that were high users were also surrounded by parents that were high users of screens. And it was the same with the medium or the moderate and then the low. If parents used screens infrequently, then the kids tended to use screens infrequently. Now, it's not across the board, but that was the tendency within that study, which says that if our child is on screens a lot, it may mean that we are on screens a lot. So a screen-free family begins with you. Did you know we make about 35,000 decisions in a given day? And we're bound to make some poor ones. And what digital devices have begun to do is make the decisions for us. We just go on a ride of decision-making based on a lot of biochemicals that are being triggered, and it's been designed to draw us in. So as a family, putting in limits is really important, but it begins with figuring out what do those limits need to look like. Now, with each stage of a child's development, those can look different. For a child under the age of 3, there shouldn't be any screens. And I know that's hard because sometimes it can be very easy to just put a screen on and consuming that while you get a lot of things done, because there are a lot of things to get done when kids are 0 to 3 and they're fully dependent on you. So you're wanting that space and you think, man, maybe I can just put this screen in front of them and maybe an educational screen. Just know that that begins to impact their cognitive development, their emotional development, their language development. Those first 3 years, the investment from you as a parent is so important as you are building intentionally with your child. When they were young, they want to be next to you doing activity. So have them join you. It may take you longer to get those things done, but allow for them to experience those things instead of being on a device. I know it's inconvenient, it's hard, you're tired, but it will be worth the investment. Now, a child that's between the ages of 3 and 7, you can look at screen time as a way to maybe have an activity together, the togetherness. Maybe it's half an hour, maybe it's an hour. It's usually the limit of screen time. And maybe that's watching a show together or playing a game together. Just know that there is an impact on the dopamine motivation levels, the attention levels, the self-regulation levels for your child. They may be less self-controlled, less attentive after spending large amounts of screen time. If you do this together, you actually create some stimulation and conversation and experience together, and that creates a different experience for the brain. It's a fantastic thing to consider doing with that young child, along with a variety of other activities. And then with a child that's between the ages of 8 to 12, many kids begin to think about the fact that they need to have a device. All their friends, all the other kids are getting devices. It doesn't mean that they need to have that. In fact, you want to limit it to about 1 hour per day of screen use. And there may be some days where you guys watch a movie or watch a show or something together. Just know the average really that is recommended is 1 hour or less. Again, the impact is on cognitive skills, on language development and social development for kids. And what happens is if a child is just on their screen and they're playing games, their language skills and their ability to have conversation, ask good questions, or even handle boredom goes down. So there's an impact, a direct impact. Research has shown that anxiety and depression are higher for kids that are fully dependent on screens. So put that limit in there, 1 hour, 2 hours. Maximum in a day. For teens, it can be so tricky because there's so much conflict around this, especially if they see it as socially necessary. If they don't have social media or they don't have a phone, then they're somehow an outcast socially. What you want to do is take a step of validation towards your teen. This is a part of their culture right now, where they're growing up in an age where everyone, 95% or more, have a smartphone, have social media access. And so for them to be screen-free means they're going to stand out in a big way and may feel very different in a time when they want to feel a sense of belonging, a sense of connectedness with their peers. So validate that and have an open conversation as to what they're so anxious about, what they're worried about, because it's real. For them, there are big emotions tied to having a phone, and it helps them feel more grown up. Now, if your teen has been accessing phones and now you're wanting to reset and detox, it can be a big conflict. If you're in that place, hang in there. It's okay for them to have big emotions. They're detoxing their brain's dependence on this device. They're probably very upset at you for getting in the way. What you want to say is, hey, I'm putting these limits because I am concerned about you. I'm worried about you. We need to reset. It doesn't mean you won't have this. You're off balance. And it's okay if you're upset. It's okay if you're mad. I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to guide you and love you. And I've seen that this has become way too important for you. Model the tech use in the way that you want it done in your home. My wife and I decided that we were going to have our phones away from the dinner table. We weren't going to be using them in the car so that we could have great conversation in the car. Great conversations happen in there. Then at night, that we weren't going to have the phone in our bed. Those are some things we did intentionally. And one other one was when we were gathering with other family members, with the extended family around Christmas or birthdays, there were no screens. We left them at home or in the car, and the idea was that you're fully present. And it was interesting for our kids. Their cousins got access to phones differently than they did, and they'd be sitting there as their cousins and stuff were on the phones. Then they had to figure out, how do I handle other people being on screens? And what they did is they found other activities, or they started to interact with the adults or play games with the adults. And that was so helpful for them developmentally. So look for those opportunities. Make sure you have those boundaries in place. If you're the parent doing this, check in with some other families, how they've done those boundaries that are so key to doing this well. Parents, you got this. You're not going to be perfect at this. Just realize that. And there's so many challenges, especially if you're comparing to other families. Know that you get to steward and manage and guide your family to what you're wanting in that home. And there are going to be some big emotions. Hang in there. It's all worthwhile when you're putting those limits and being consistent. Hey, if you like what you saw, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We love having you with us. Be sure to leave your comments, and I'll see you again soon.